Welcome. Some movies entertain you for 2 hours, and some stay in your head long after the credits roll. 2026 is bringing a mix of intense thrillers, brutal horror films, epic action, and even post-apocalyptic survival stories that promise unforgettable moments on screen. Some of these movies are already creating a lot of buzz around the world, while others might completely surprise you with their dark atmosphere and unique ideas. In this ranking, we're looking at 8 movies from 2026 that stand out the most and could easily become some of the most talked about films of the year. So let's begin. Newborn. After 7 years in complete isolation, Chris Newborn is finally released back into the world. But freedom does not feel like freedom anymore. Everything around him seems unfamiliar, overwhelming, and distant. Determined to reconnect with his family and rebuild his life, Chris quickly realizes that the past does not disappear when the door opens. The years of isolation have left deep scars on his mind. Trauma, fear, and guilt follow him everywhere, shaping every decision he makes. Each day becomes a quiet battle to survive emotionally in a society that no longer trusts him. People look at him with suspicion, while his own thoughts refuse to let him forget what happened. As the pressure grows, Chris must confront not only the judgment of the outside world, but also the darkest parts of his own mind. This powerful drama explores trauma, redemption, and the painful journey of trying to rebuild a life after everything has fallen apart. Mortal Kombat 2. After the brutal events of the previous tournament, the fight for Earth is far from over. This time, the stakes are even higher. It is no longer about honor or victory, but about the survival of the entire planet. The warriors chosen to defend Earth must once again prepare for battle as the forces of Outworld begin their final invasion. Deadly new fighters appear, bringing unimaginable power and ruthless brutality. What once looked like a tournament of champions now becomes a full-scale war between worlds. Alliances are tested, former enemies may become unexpected allies, and every lost fight pushes humanity closer to destruction. Packed with explosive battles, brutal fatalities, and spectacular visual effects, the story also explores sacrifice, responsibility, and the inner struggle of warriors facing the end of their world. Backrooms. Everything begins when Clark discovers a strange portal hidden in the basement of his store. Curious and confused, he steps inside and suddenly finds himself in an endless maze of yellow corridors known as the Backrooms. At first, he believes it might be a hallucination or a strange dream, but the place feels far too real. When he shares his experience with his therapist, she suspects that the visions could be signs of serious psychological problems. But when Clark suddenly disappears without a trace, the explanation of mental illness is no longer enough. Determined to uncover the truth, the therapist enters the mysterious labyrinth herself. Inside the Backrooms, reality begins to collapse. Time loses meaning, space constantly shifts, and something unseen seems to watch every step from the shadows. What begins as an investigation slowly turns into a terrifying fight for survival in a place where fear itself may attract something inhuman. Pretty lethal. 5 talented young ballerinas are traveling to the most important competition of their lives. Years of discipline, sacrifice, and rivalry have brought them to this moment. But their journey takes a dark turn when their bus suddenly breaks down deep in a remote forest. Forced to look for help, the girls find shelter in a strange roadside guest house run by former ballet star Devor Casimir. At first, the place appears quiet and safe, but something feels wrong. The tension between the dancers begins to grow, and hidden jealousy quickly surfaces. Soon, disturbing events reveal that the guest house hides terrifying secrets. What started as a simple stop becomes a desperate fight to survive. In this nightmare, the skills they learned through years of training become their only chance to escape. This thriller blends ambition, rivalry, and survival, where grace and discipline collide with pure fear, in a violent nature too. The nightmare returns. When Johnny's stolen medallion is taken from its resting place, The object that binds him to the world of the living awakens his unstoppable thirst for revenge. Once again, the silent forests become his hunting ground. His path leads to an isolated summer camp where a group of teenagers spend the night far away from civilization. Among them is a boy trying to find his place within his sister's group of friends, unaware that something ancient and deadly is coming for them. Johnny moves slowly through the forest, relentless and unstoppable, like a force of nature that cannot be reasoned with. Panic spreads as the group realizes they are no longer alone. Escape seems possible, but the deeper they run into the wilderness, the clearer it becomes that the forest belongs to him. Do not enter. The Creepers are a group of thrill-seeking internet creators who make a living by exploring dangerous and abandoned places during live streams. Their latest challenge is the infamous Paragon Hotel, a location surrounded by dark legends about gang violence, hauntings, and a hidden treasure worth hundreds of millions of dollars. For the Creepers, this is the perfect opportunity to gain millions of views and prove they fear nothing. But once inside the decaying building, things quickly spiral out of control. The deeper they explore the endless corridors and hidden rooms, the more the tension rises. Not only do they encounter dangerous rivals chasing fame and money, but something far more disturbing begins to emerge from the shadows. What started as entertainment slowly turns into a terrifying fight for survival broadcast live to the world. The Dog Stars. After a devastating flu pandemic nearly wipes out humanity, the world falls into silence and ruin. Cities are empty, civilization has collapsed, and only scattered groups of survivors remain. Among them is Hig, a former civilian pilot who lost his wife during the outbreak. Now he lives in isolation at a small abandoned airfield with a hardened former Marine who helps defend their fragile refuge. Together, they try to survive in a world where disease, hunger, and violent gangs known as the Reapers threaten what little remains of humanity. But Hig cannot accept a life that is only about survival. He still believes that somewhere beyond the endless wastelands, there might be hope. When a faint radio signal suggests that other survivors could exist, Hig decides to risk everything and take flight into the unknown, knowing that this journey may be his last. The Cure. 16-year-old Ally Brown has spent most of her life fighting a mysterious disease that slowly destroys her body. Adopted by a wealthy family deeply connected to the biotechnology industry, she believes her parents are doing everything possible to save her life. But as the years pass, Ally begins to notice disturbing patterns around her. Endless medical tests, secret laboratories, and hidden conversations raise terrifying questions. When she accidentally uncovers part of the truth, her world collapses. Her illness may not be a tragedy, but a carefully controlled experiment. It turns out that her blood contains a rare property that could change the future of medicine and make powerful corporations incredibly rich. Betrayed by the people she trusted most, Ally must uncover the full truth about her past and decide whether she will become their greatest discovery or fight for her freedom.